Well, there have been calls by some stakeholders towards prioritizing also affairs of the male gender, just as the society does for its female counterparts. They also caution against prioritizing the girl child at the expense of the boy child when drafting intervention strategies. They noted that most intervention strategies tend to exclude the male gender and place much more focus on the female. This follows an increase in cases of young boys who are experiencing abuse from older women or their peers. They added that forms of abuse such as sexual, physical, emotional, neglect, and the rest have made increased male vulnerability. Well, joining us now is the founder of the Elizabethan Humanitarian Foundation, Oyinade Samuel Eluwole. She joins us to discuss the organization's mission to rescue the male child from this unfortunate quagmire. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to Newsday.
Thank you.
Just as the intro said, it's important to not marginalize the genders of these children who are experiencing such hardship. In some of my research, surprisingly, it seems that there are more male children out of school than female children out of school. Could you tell us more about this and how your foundation has come into this line of work?
Thank you very much. Elizabethan Humanitarian Life Foundation, we call it H&H, It's not about not boys only, but it's an intervention for male gender across, across board, male from cradle to old age. And why we're having this twist is that there has been so much passion towards the female children, and we have left the male gender behind because we believe so much that the male are born with supernatural strength. They are giving birth and they have the wisdom naturally. They know what to do. They can withstand stress and also. So the society, the families, and the world at large have left them behind. We have mistaken their physical strength to be their psychological and emotional strength. By this, a male is not allowed to cry. Be a man. We keep telling them be a man without giving them what it takes to be a man. We focus so much on the girl child because we believe the female, the girl child, is a weaker vessel. So all the attention goes to them. Let's look at it. When it has to do with, I'm talking about male at all levels. They suffer neglect so much. And that is why Elizabethan Humanitarian Life Foundation is based on the life cycle of male generally. So when it comes to house calls, we call our girls. When it comes to teaching them how to behave, how to be a good wife, to be a good mother, we tend to give them all that it takes. So we have left the men behind. So if you look at it, we are having so much divorce rate. We are having so much, the girls are not even enjoying their families. So why we're taking on this course is that we want our girls to enjoy their homes and marriages. So we want to give the men what it takes to be a man, for them to be a good husband and good father, and what have we. Thank you.
All right, I'm glad you've shone light, or you've actually chimed into this, because you're right. A lot of focus, a lot of attention, a lot of energy is towards protecting
the girl child,
as against, or probably at the detriment of the male child.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yes. So, talk to us. Give us some scenarios, because you mentioned, as we were trying to open this particular discussion,
yes,
there were talks about sexual, physical, and emotional neglect.
Yes.
Talk to us. What are the experiences you've actually witnessed? Because when it comes to that particular area, in terms of sexual and physical abuse, it is not really played up, but from some research, a lot of this is happening, but because nobody talks about it, everyone turns a blind eye, it just gets swept under the rug. Talk to us about the experiences and what you're trying, what your foundation is trying to do to ensure you actually bridge that gap whereby things like this do not happen and you can actually call it out.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's talk about rape. You know, naturally, when it gets to sex education, we talk to girls much more than the boys because we believe the girls in quotes are weaker vessels and probably they can't defend themselves in the face of rape. We have forgotten that males too get, you know, molested, even by house helps and things like that. If you look at rates at which people commit suicide, I tell you, one happened about a month ago. A guy committed suicide for about 500,000. He borrowed the money and he went to pay children's school fees, you know, but he couldn't meet up, and it's been like that. So he looked at it and he just left a suicidal note for the wife and committed suicide. I tell you, a female will never commit suicide because of 500,000. Even because of 1 million. We would rather talk it out. We are talkative. I'll call my friend, I'll talk to them. So, you know, because we have put so much pressure on the psyche of the male child that you are a man, you can't even talk too much. Even when you are wounded emotionally, you can't say it out. Once you say it, you are seen as being weakling, you know. So we keep telling them, be a man. By so doing, we are telling them, keep your emotion. By telling them, please don't cry. By telling them, when you are injured, please keep it. By telling them, you have to be the head of the house. By telling them, you have to carry all the weight. And we give the girls all what it takes to be a good mother, to be a good wife. Let me tell you, have you noticed the rate at which we have divorce in homes and everything? Why? Because we expect our girls to be submissive to the male that you didn't teach, but the girl has all what it takes to be a good woman, and you want her to be submissive to a man that you're not getting anything that it takes to be a man. So that is why we want to focus on this, because we are focusing on this not only because of the male child, we are focusing on the male child for him to be a better husband, for him to be a better husband, a better father, so that our girls can enjoy their homes, thereby saving marriages.
It's like you've eavesdropped on some of the conversations that me and my friends have. Well, just individuals, you know, of childbirthing age. We do discuss the fact that a lot of pressure is put on both children,
yes.
But the pressure is different. The pressure for women oftentimes isn't the same pressure felt for the men.
Yeah.
And we wonder sometimes if a discussion shouldn't be had with parents in churches, in their offices, or wherever they are, to start to think about this more, because the everyday of life is very distracting. I mean, if you have kids and you have a job and you're doing this and that, it's very hard to stay on top of everything. So my question to you now is, how do you offer these resources to these male and female students of all age? I don't want to call them students,
Okay,
but
that's okay.
is it that you speak to the parents of the younger ones? Are there seminars? Or are there apps or phone numbers for the teenage and adult males to call if they feel particularly vulnerable and ashamed of expressing their feelings? What are the services that you offer? Not only you offer, but what other services could you recommend for parents or individuals who work in schools or even offices that might see individuals who might have been lacking in the what do you call it, home training? I don't want to use that word, but might have been lacking. Very briefly.
Okay. For home, let's start with parenting. As a parent, you are a parent because you have children, not because of the gender of your children. So please, whatever hand you are, whatever side you're giving to your girl child, please give it to the male child. They are human and they have emotions too. In fact, as a matter of fact, psychologically and emotionally, females are stronger than men. They are stronger than us. They are stronger than us physically. But what I can absorb, what you can absorb, I'm telling you, it won't be able. And they cry. Ask him, just that they won't show him. So we're going to be going to schools. We're going to be having what we call Rescue the Boys. We have a lot to discuss with that. We're going to be, we've written a lot of letters actually to collaborate with people. We're going to be having phone numbers. We're going to have our offices on. We're going to be collaborating with professionals, psychologists, and things like that.
Good.
So,
I want to say thank you very much for showing
Thank
up.
you.
And I must say, continue the valiant fight.
Yes.
This is heartwarming to know that people are actually looking after the male child. Okay,
Yes.
Oyinade, Samuel,
Thank you.
Eluwole, thank you very much for joining us here on Newsday.
Thank you.